In this episode, we examine how live conflict developments reshape military balance, energy pressure, and market risk. The format is simple: first the backdrop, then the current flashpoints, then the likely next moves. Time reference: April 5, 2026 at 13:09. Primary theater: Ukraine. Tonight's board includes 2 conflict events and 6 market risk signals. We begin with the strategic backdrop. Backdrop segment: recurring patterns show sustained strike cycles, contested logistics, and ongoing energy security volatility across major theaters. Continuing story arc. Narrative continuity: the conflict storyline remains open and continues to evolve with each new verified report. New developments in this cycle are limited, but existing arcs remain active across key theaters. Checklist coverage segment. Checklist coverage is initializing as source data is mapped. No critical checklist gaps are currently flagged. Now to market risk. In total, 0 markets are rising, 0 are falling, and 6 are mostly flat. Right now, markets are mixed. The main market pressure right now is in energy. Live transport movement segment. Aircraft movement signals in the last 48 hours, 0. Military aircraft activity signals in the last 48 hours, 0. Oil-linked maritime and channel transit signals in the last 48 hours, 2. Channel watch breakdown: no named channel signal in the latest 48H article set. Market storyline. Market issue 1: crude oil is moving up. Energy is moving because people fear supply disruption and transport bottlenecks. Conflict link: Donetsk, at least 15 killed in Russian attacks on Ukraine as Zelensky meets Erdogan, Al Jazeera reported 14 hours ago. Kharkiv, Russian offensive campaign assessment, April 3, 2026, Institute for the Study of War, reported 23 hours ago. Risk focus for crude oil: disruption around shipping lanes and export terminals could reprice near-term barrels quickly, especially if Donetsk escalates. Market issue 2: gold is moving up. Defensive assets are moving because investors want protection during uncertainty. Conflict link: there is no single direct trigger, but ongoing conflict uncertainty is still pushing prices around. Risk focus for gold: volatility in conflict headlines tied to current frontline reporting can drive defensive allocation and stronger hedging flows. Market issue 3: Lockheed Martin is moving up. Stocks are moving because companies may face higher costs and weaker demand if conflict expands. Conflict link: there is no single direct trigger, but ongoing conflict uncertainty is still pushing prices around. Risk focus for Lockheed Martin: prolonged uncertainty around current frontline reporting can lower forward guidance confidence and reduce valuation support. Market issue 4: Northrop Grumman is moving up. Stocks are moving because companies may face higher costs and weaker demand if conflict expands. Conflict link: there is no single direct trigger, but ongoing conflict uncertainty is still pushing prices around. Risk focus for Northrop Grumman: persistent conflict pressure near current frontline reporting can raise logistics and input costs, weighing on margin expectations. Market issue 5: RTX is moving up. Stocks are moving because companies may face higher costs and weaker demand if conflict expands. Conflict link: there is no single direct trigger, but ongoing conflict uncertainty is still pushing prices around. Risk focus for RTX: earnings sensitivity increases when shipping, fuel, and insurance costs rise on reports linked to current frontline reporting. Now to the frontline picture, structured as country chapters from a strict 48-hour research window. Country chapter: Ukraine. Headline event: Russia in action, at least 15 killed in Russian attacks on Ukraine as Zelensky meets Erdogan, Al Jazeera. Critical timing context: 14 hours ago. Leader update: President Volodymyr Zelensky remain key political actors in this theater. Latest reported leadership signal: at least 15 killed in Russian attacks on Ukraine as Zelensky meets Erdogan, Al Jazeera. Presidential and top-level discussion update: President Volodymyr Zelensky remains central in public signaling. Back-channel political coordination is likely active even when transcripts are limited. Political tensions: political tension is centered on conflict uncertainty, alliance signaling, and rapidly changing security narratives. Strategic or military movement update: active strike operations were reported across one or more fronts. Technology and weapons update: strike and surveillance systems remain central, with drone reconnaissance and indirect fire shaping engagement tempo. Damage report update: casualty or civilian harm reports are present. Casualty signals: 30 reported killed/dead mentions. Country focus: Ukraine. Troop picture: combined arms brigades, territorial defense, drone teams, and artillery-heavy formations. Weapons in play: FPV drones, tube artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, anti-armor missiles, and air defense interceptors. Bomb and munition profile: guided glide munitions, loitering munitions, and tube artillery high-explosive rounds. Defensive measures: layered trench lines, mobile air defense, electronic jamming, and rapid engineer fortification. Offensive measures: localized counterattacks, deep drone strikes on logistics, and precision interdiction. Current offensive indicators include ground assault and counter-offensive pushes. Oil and fuel status: fuel resilience depends on import corridors, rail transshipment, and depot hardening. Grid strain risk remains high from strikes on substations and generation infrastructure. Current stress markers: oil flows and refinery stability. Likely next moves: expand drone pressure on rear logistics while preserving manpower in prepared defensive belts. Forecast for Ukraine: expect localized ground position probing and route contest activity in the next 12 to 24 hours, risk stays elevated into the next day, with potential escalation spikes around logistics corridors. Energy and transport exposure remains a key secondary risk. Country focus: Russia. Troop picture: motor rifle elements, airborne units, assault detachments, and heavy artillery groupings. Weapons in play: glide bomb delivery aircraft, ballistic and cruise missiles, attack drones, and heavy artillery. Bomb and munition profile: glide bombs, thermobaric warheads, loitering munitions, and rocket artillery payloads. Defensive measures: deep defensive belts, minefields, counter-battery operations, and electronic warfare screens. Offensive measures: attritional pressure along selected axes supported by massed fires and drone reconnaissance. Current offensive indicators include ground assault and counter-offensive pushes. Oil and fuel status: benefits from domestic supply depth but remains exposed to refinery and depot disruption. Energy export leverage remains strategic but transport choke points can tighten margins. Current stress markers: oil flows and refinery stability. Likely next moves: sustain pressure with firepower-led advances while probing for weak sectors in defenses. Forecast for Russia: expect localized ground position probing and route contest activity in the next 12 to 24 hours, risk stays elevated into the next day, with potential escalation spikes around logistics corridors. Energy and transport exposure remains a key secondary risk. Likely market pressure points: energy markets. Rolling 48-hour agenda for next discussion, maintained country by country. Only latest verified entries are retained, older than 48 hours is automatically dropped. Ukraine: at least 15 killed in Russian attacks on Ukraine as Zelensky meets Erdogan, Al Jazeera. Updated 14 hours ago. Forecast for Ukraine: expect localized ground position probing and route contest activity in the next 12 to 24 hours, risk stays elevated into the next day, with potential escalation spikes around logistics corridors. Energy and transport exposure remains a key secondary risk. Closing assessment. Fresh conflict flow in the last 24 hours is driving the strongest market reactions right now. Main risk to watch: if fighting expands, strike depth increases, or transport routes are hit, fuel and power stress can intensify quickly and push wider market volatility. Final outlook: commanders will try to seize initiative overnight, diplomats will race to shape the narrative by morning, and markets will price every signal in real time.